All right, so this is a 5-minute presentation where I'm going to talk to you about the benefits of joining a podcast network and why it's in your best interest to do so. Now, one of the biggest pain points for podcasters is growth. Now that I've started my show, if I go it solo, the pain of not getting the impact and the reach that you want to get. And that is sometimes it takes months, even years to begin to build. Now, if I look back at my podcast about 8 years ago, it kind of grew in increments of like 30, 60, 90, 120. And those periods were spaced pretty far. And so momentum takes a little bit of time. Okay. And so that is the reason for the podcast network. And the biggest problem that it solves is now that I've created my show and I got great content, what do I do about promotion? What do I do about distribution? How do I monetize my voice? This solves all of that. What it also solves is giving up, which you may not be the kind that gives up. In fact, if you're watching this, you are not the kind that gives up. You've been doing this game for a while, and or you made it this far in the process, and you are not the kind that gives up. But let me tell you, there's a lot more encouragement when you're getting feedback by getting reach and influence. Okay. Now, if you go on YouTube, the reality of monetization is a pretty long path. And if it's done normally, it can take up to a year. If you dump a lot of cash into it, you can get there a little bit quicker. But needless to say, it's pretty tough. Now, that's the same thing with Spotify, who just came out with their monetization program. It is hard to reach their criteria. This solves that biggest problem, okay? So what happens is you get to plug into a shared ecosystem. And that is the podcast network has already had thousands upon thousands of emails, podcasters in the network, and different levels of influence and ecosystems set up in the background that you don't have. Okay. And also just being a network itself in the promotion among the different shows creates the visibility also. Okay. So the hardest part is not the content. It's not your expertise. It's the marketing and the monetization and the stuff that happens behind the scenes. And so the benefit is that you don't have to worry about that part. So you can just focus on doing the part that you like and love. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you fly solo. And this is what it looks like when you join a network. So the promise is this, that the average podcaster gets somewhere between 250 and 500 downloads a month. And this is real. You can go and Google this and look this up. This is the average podcaster. So what we promise is that we're going to take that average podcaster in a month and we're going to shrink it down into a day. And so we're going to get you to producing in a day what normal podcasters would in 30 days. And that's kind of the starting point. And so then you can grow and evolve from there. And your show will grow by leaps and bounds from there. But we're going to start you out 30x farther than anybody who's trying to go it solo. This is mass, fast, early exposure. That's what you're going to look for longevity. Okay. Now, early visibility matters. It matters because you want to create launch and you want to create momentum and you want to feel like you're making progress. There's a reason why podcasters only go to the 12th episode. It's because that it's very unthankful sport. A podcast, there's not a whole lot of feedback on the other side. You're talking into a mic. You don't know if it's landing, all these different things. But let me tell you, if you're getting reach and exposure and influence and it's growing month after month and people are opting into your systems, into your process, let me tell you something like that, that's easy to continue. Okay. We want you to continue. All right. Monetization from day one. You join the podcast network. We get you locked in, downloads start immediately, monetization immediately. Okay. The advertisers are buying into the network, so you don't have to reach this high criteria, which is really large. Okay. The network has already reached that criteria, and so you get to monetize very, very early. Now, the win win is if you win, they win. So this incentivizes the platform to make sure that they're pushing out your content because the more ears go to your content, the more money you make. Okay? That is an awesome, awesome reality. And now, why it's free to join? It's free to join because there's no barriers to get into the network. If you create a barrier, then it shrinks entry. There's absolutely no barrier to enter the network. The flip side is on the back end. So everybody gets paid on the back end. So there is a monetization strategy. There is no upfront payment. There is a partnership and an agreement, and everybody gets paid on the back end. Okay. This is this is absolutely a no-brainer. I don't know anybody in their right mind, especially the first 2 years of podcasting where it is a hard road, who wouldn't want to start out in this fashion because it's going to put you in year 2 or 3 immediately. That way you can have a solid foundation to build from in the years to come. This is an absolutely no-brainer for anybody who has low influence and wants a greater impact or who is just starting out. Okay? Ready to join the network. So here's what happens. In the link below, there is a link. Click on it. That is the application. We're going to review that and we're going to contact you with the next steps and then onboard you into the process of the promotion and the monetization. I look forward to seeing you inside of the network. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll see you soon.